I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker to kick off the panel, Justin Schwartz, Dean of Engineering at Penn State University, to share his thoughts on how they're training the next generation of engineers and architects through the Global Research Consortium to understand the greater purpose that the role of the engineer now has, given this expanded definition of high-performance buildings.
Thank you so much, Lindsay, for that introduction to our challenges. 6 weeks ago, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said that the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change Working Group's report was a code red for humanity, and that the alarm bells are deafening and the evidence is irrefutable. Greenhouse gas emissions from fossil fuel burning and deforestation are choking our planet and putting billions of people at immediate risk. 3 weeks ago, Hurricane Ida killed 20 people in Venezuela, caused $100 million in damage in Cuba, before hitting Louisiana with enough momentum to travel over 1,500 miles across land to the Northeast US, causing another 89 deaths, including 5 right here in Pennsylvania, from where I'm speaking to you today, and from where we don't normally get impact from hurricanes. More than $15 billion in damage is estimated from Ida. So Ida may seem like the unimaginable stuff of nightmares, but in reality, it should not be surprising because this is climate change in action. In Venezuela, more than 1,200 homes were destroyed by flooding. Many of those who died in the United States were trapped in basement apartments, some of which were illegal sublets, popular among those with few resources and even fewer options. Others were unable to evacuate or had nowhere to go. Their built environment failed them, from the physical buildings to the communities in which they lived. This is inequity in climate change. One begets the other. The impacts of climate change amplify injustice. Our infrastructure crumbles, washed away by monster storms, burned by raging wildfires. Our societies strain, ready to snap, worn out from the pandemic and repeated racial injustice. Extremism of many forms emerges in many places. Around the world, we're bearing witness to, and really suffering the results of, inaction across the human ecosystem. Our meeting today has in its name concrete action. So what are we doing and what can we do? I think we're all on the same page that we must reduce carbon emissions. But the question then becomes, how do we do that while continuing to develop the built environment? How do we produce hurricane-safe homes for everyone? How do we deploy high-performance, sustainable buildings globally to dramatically reduce consumption and waste of carbon while also improving health and quality of life and providing access for communities supporting and supported by the built environment? And we have to do it without carbon. People often think of this as a policy problem, and it is, but from where I sit, of course, first and foremost, I think it is also an engineering problem. Engineering is science with a mission, and we need engineers and scientists who can drive development and intellectually lead a vision for our growing world population of nearly 8 billion people. Population growth should not invite more injustice, nor the human despair that often results from it. So consider growth. Since the beginning of life, water has been at the crux of existence and expansion. The most basic of human needs, water quenches thirst and enables sanitation. It facilitates global trade and expansion by shipping goods, including natural resources, thousands of miles, and serving as a key component in our construction materials. Water transportation binds our economies to one another. And for centuries, water also controlled our communications, while now the internet increasingly serves that role. These critical resources enable us to grow, and through which we can also control growth. Those with access are often wealthier and safer with healthier built environments. They have established connections to other communities and the ability to move with relative ease and comfort within and between built environments. Yet even in areas with extreme wealth, access is not given or uniform. Think of New York City during Hurricane Ida. No one in the penthouses died. The built environment is not only our buildings, it comprises communities and the connections between communities. So how we design our buildings, and thus our cities, impacts how people live and function day to day, but even still goes further. The built environment is the driving cornerstone for how human societies and daily life will evolve in the future. So we can't think of the built environment in isolation. So then how do we bridge the divide of the haves and have-nots? How do we make access equitable for all of our resources? And how does the built environment fit into this puzzle? Those questions are the foundation of the work between Penn State University and the UNECE. Together, we launched the Global Building Network to conduct the research, communication, dissemination, and education necessary to raise energy efficiency standards in buildings worldwide. Starting its 4th year and led by Dr. Esther Abonio, a native of Kenya, the Global Building Network is one of 3 pillars of the UNECE's High Performance Building Initiative. Bolstered by the academic support of Penn State and partner universities the world over, along with industry and government, the GBN is, at its core, a global collaboration. And participants understand that global impact is built on local considerations and local implementation. Our programs create knowledge and provide education focused on energy efficiency and quality of life that comprehends local conditions and aspirations. We prioritize participants seeing how social equity and justice can emerge from decisions on buildings in the local context, and how research can incorporate our varied starting points worldwide. The Global Building Network focuses on the intersection of research and education with an aim to drive implementation. The ancient Taoist adage says, vision without action is a daydream. And frankly, we have no time for daydreams. Our students learn the why and how of better buildings. The how is action as we advance energy efficiency and health through research. As we experience the impact of climate change and a global pandemic simultaneously, it is clear that we need a built environment that provides energy efficiency and indoor air of the highest quality for everyone. Our research also influences how we educate students, and the feedback loop drives innovation. Externally, we work with partners worldwide to ensure our efforts are not solely an academic exercise or US-centric. Specifically, and with intentionality, we work with global collaborators on solutions for their local challenges. And our aim is to expand the reach of our global partnerships. To be truly successful, the global network must circumnavigate the globe. We, all of us here and many others, have pounded on our fists on the table for years saying, listen. The younger generations are now stepping up to that table and raising their own fists, demanding change and shouting for us to prepare them to lead a global transformation to ensure that our planet remains a welcoming home for humanity. From my own narrow experiences, I see the hope and optimism in student engineers. They have big ideas and the passion to follow through, to make real change. As engineering educators, our job is to give them the tools to learn the technical skills they need to make impact. As global leaders, our job is to ensure they are prepared to engage with non-engineering communities whose partnership is critical to the implementation and social transformation we need. History has shown that, in the face of crises, knowledge is the greatest weapon. Providing educational opportunities is the best tool we can provide our youth. Penn State is a leader in both engineering education and in driving the connection between application of science through engineering to policy. Home to the Drawdown Research Experience for Undergraduates program, which provides mentors for students from across the US as they research solutions put forth by Project Drawdown, as well as an internationally recognized architectural engineering program and a newly established Masters of Engineering in Engineering Law and Policy. Penn State is preparing the next generation of engineers to understand and act when emerging technologies interact with and become part of policy and law systems. This new master's program, for example, is the first graduate program of its kind. Currently, it's a residential program, but we plan to offer it online via Penn State's World Campus. And really, that's key. We have several incredible students from around the world who come to study at Penn State, some through programs such as the World Bank Scholarship or the Schlumberger Foundation Faculty for the Future Fellowship, where they earn their degree here in Pennsylvania and return to their home country to implement and share their knowledge. It takes a lot of resources, however, to get students from around the world to Pennsylvania. And from the expense of tuition, the challenges of visas and moving, to name just a few, I imagine we're missing extremely talented people who could be extraordinary engineers and leaders in their home countries if they could access the education and do it in such a way that they don't need to leave their families or homes. So does it make sense for countries to spend so much to get one student to Penn State, or to take steps to bring Penn State to any citizen who wants to pursue an engineering education? So we're working to deliver more and more of our programs online and the effort is accelerating given the pandemic-imposed needs. But it doesn't matter how many programs and degrees we offer online if potential students don't have access to the internet. This has become even more clear during this pandemic. Education is no longer restricted by the classroom when the classroom is the world. Just as waterways facilitated trade and communication, access to the internet is how our world evolves. So will we demand high performance for all, or will we tolerate limitations that allow so many to live in poor, sickly conditions for the benefit of the few who can afford more? In 2011, a United Nations report said the internet is a basic human right. Yet it took another 5 years for the UN to pass a resolution declaring it so, and it did not propose government responsibility for providing internet access. Look, for example, to India, the world's second highest user of the internet, yet only about half of India's citizens have access. The access divide is deep. On the flip side, consider Estonia. Estonia had every school online by 2000 and encouraged internet use by training its citizens, raising usage from 29 to 91%. Now their citizens pay taxes, vote, access healthcare and education all online. They have the first and booming e-residency program, attracting entrepreneurs who can help improve the economy. They have shown this can be done. The internet is, in many ways, the lifeblood of the modern built environment, from the concept to the execution of smart design and smart communities. As we are experiencing in today's gathering, with the internet, we can collaborate, we can share, we can gain the technical skills and the advantage of a global experience. By partnering to provide education to deepening our research at the click of a button, we can solve our problems. We can align our building techniques to fulfill the codes that will benefit our own communities and the communities we are connected to across the globe. We can share ideas and test concepts to reduce carbon emissions, and we can improve the old yet critical global supply chains to make every city a port of access. So I want to invite everyone here to join the Global Building Network. Our built environment is ailing, but together we can do better. We can learn from each other and build together. The 17th and culminating Sustainable Development Goal is partnerships. We know that by building partnerships, genuine partnerships, we can also rebuild the world. We can develop global solutions and implement them locally. We're not starting from scratch, we are starting with each other. We have moved from banging our fists on the table to knocking on the world's door, and I really hope we will all answer. Thank you.